This is it, the final chapter in our Jak 3 story. Previously, we saw a complete resurgence in the no-oop category in the first half of 2022. Activity was as high as ever, with new players rising to the occasion, old runners coming back to compete, and my crowning achievement with a 3852. Coming up is the rematch between Bob and I live on the big stage at ESA Summer 2022. This race was taking place on the very last day of the marathon, so until then, let's just enjoy ourselves and take a little vacation. I think at this point, we've earned it.
ESA is a special week of the year, definitely. Get to see pretty much all of all of the homies you haven't seen, and you only get to see them once or twice a year.
Feels like we're just chilling all the time in the hotel when we want to, but we also get to go out and we get to try food here in Sweden. We get to do things that I would never do on my own normally. Like we went disc golfing, bowling, obviously everyone's been bowling, but like still going with all these people that you've known over Discord, over whatever, Twitch.
We're here because of Jak to a degree, but we're not here to sit around and play Jak. We're not doing attempts. We're not, we might be discussing strats and all of that, but it's not in the way of, sitting in your room just like typing. We're having fun, we're cracking jokes, we're doing it at McDonald's or something, so it's very different.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's fucking wild.
Yeah, look at this guy, he's huge. Big crab.
If you've never gone to a marathon event somewhere, you don't come here to go watch the events. You can do that at home, that's fine. Sure, if there's a hype run, being in the crowd is great, but that's a very small part of these events. It's just the people. How to describe feelings, just amazing.
Echoing Qatar's words here, meeting your best online friends in person is a difficult feeling to describe. It's a rather unique mixture of comfort, compassion, and trust. Considering the fact that you don't know many of these people on a super personal level, you feel oddly connected to each other despite coming from different walks of life. Even though you only have about a week of time together, you'd be surprised how well you click with others who you maybe only share one interest with. The first ESA I ever went to was in 2013, when I was 16 years old. Back then, Jak 1 runner Roser and I represented the entire community with 2 Jak runners. Then in 2014, it grew to 3 people, and then 9 in 2015. With each year's installment, the community continued to grow in size. And all of a sudden, this tiny collection of people that was supposed to be only about Jak and Daxter had grown into something greater. To a larger extent, the PlayStation speedrunning scene as a whole is continuously growing. The group photos from the last couple of years are outright astounding with the amount of people we have. It's to the point where it's difficult to fit us all in the frame, especially when we're all T-posing like a bunch of nerds. Keep in mind too, these are just the people who wanted to and were able to show up. In the online sphere, the scene is 20 times larger. Our community is only getting bigger and better, and this space that we've created is very special to many.
ESA just kind of showed me a different and a kind of a more real side of the community because you're actually with the people, and it continues to pull me back. Some people go to marathons only if they get a run in. I might not even submit because I just want to see the people. I'm here to hang out with the friends I've made through Jak, through just speedrunning in general. So
ESA was one of the best experiences of my life, honestly. This is coming from somebody who, I'm not really a gamer. The only time I play video games is if I'm speedrunning, just because I like it so much and the people keep me coming back. And I've been in the skateboarding community, videography, I've been into music. At a certain point, it all becomes toxic, to a certain point, but speedrunning's literally the only experience I've ever had where I can always just come back and everybody's just, it's just laid back. Everybody's genuine.
Then I learned about ESA and GDQ, and I watched it, and I was like, I need to be here. This is home. Literally, I've had multiple dreams about this place, and now I'm inside of my dream. It's life-changing. My life will never be the same. This has been the greatest week of my life. By far.
One of my favorite parts about speedrunning marathons is walking into one of the many game rooms to see what random stuff people are playing. These rooms are always packed with runners who are practicing their showcases, playing something casually, or attempting to find glitches. There was Spyro, Crash, Ratchet, Sly, and Shadow Man 2 Ekand coming?
fire.
Oh, what the fuck just happened?
Is there a hawk level?
Yo! Shadow Man's back! Oh my god! Dude, he's back to being Morpheus, dude.
Armin! Read! I recall them. No, I'm not getting close to Shadow Man hotline.
Yeah, this was a blast, and it's true what they say. Time flies when you're having fun. You blink and all of a sudden the week is almost over. So naturally, with the little time we had left, Bob and I had to start warming up for our grand race. Dex would join us in some 3-man no-oob races in the practice room, and this cool photo was taken. Now, it was time for the big stage.
That's good. Yeah, welcome everybody to ESA 22's Jack 3 no-oob race. This is a rematch from AGDQ 2016. We're back with new strats 6 years later. This is round 2.
I've been training in the woods for years. Dex, by the way.
Yeah, hello. Hey,
Ben.
Benza. Okay, race in 3, 2, 1, go.
The race would start very similarly to the one we did at AGDQ, with Bob keeping that 3 to 8 second lead the entire time. After a good defend Ashland from me, I would enter the first place position, but I wouldn't keep it for long, dropping a hover in the temple and dying in the process. A couple of minutes later, Bob would die at the start of Eco Mine. It was once again really close.
Very nice, Ricky.
I'm very
well.
That went really well.
Both clearing it incredibly well.
I'm just missing like 6 shots at the end.
I missed like 4 as well. That button's so hard to hit.
Yo, this is a sick race.
Yeah, this is actually
a
sick.
really good run, yeah.
Good stuff.
I think.
Yeah, I messed up my setup.
Oh. This is a new skip.
Yeah. Go.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
it is.
it's a new skip.
It freaking sucks. I can't kill this guy. Get out of here, bro.
Yeah, Bob's gonna do here robot skip, which is we're also gonna see Ricky do in a sec.
Oh, sick.
Oh.
Alright.
Yeah, this very new skip, pretty much what we want to shoot down in a certain part of the fight to damage
Ricky
him.
got it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you can destroy all of the bomb trains at the same time, and then you can just skip the whole boss fight like that.
Yeah, Bob getting it as well from what it looks like. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, not?
Oh.
Nope. Got seshed on.
Oh, what? That looked correct?
I think he slid down probably.
Oh, man.
Yeah, damn.
The robot death kinda sealed the deal for the race. When you fail it once, you have no dark eco to attempt the trick again, forcing Bob to fight the boss normally and losing well over a minute. To this day, I'm still in disbelief that this robot skip attempt didn't work. It looked textbook. He just got dealt a bad hand. But instead of being bummed out about the death, he was a really good sport about it, and wanted to give the audience some eye candy. So in classic Bob fashion, he put on the shades and gave the people what they wanted.
Okay, I did the power up though, hold on.
Oh, okay.
I have the power up. Good. Oh.
Oh.
Let's
Oh,
go.
good stuff. Love that strat.
We'll come up now. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, 40. Nice.
Oh yeah, 40's sick, dude.
Okay, I'll say it. Just for you, man.
Please, please.
And we're in there.
Let's go.
GG, man.
Yeah.
GG.
That's
GG,
sick.
Bob.
GG, Ricky. Well played.
Thanks to the nation for showing up. Like, seriously. Thank you. We had such great representation this year. And also thanks to Bob coming all the way from the US, coming to my turf. Hope you had a great trip here.
Yeah, dude. Shoutouts to ESA, obviously, for hosting this. It's crazy what an old PS2 game, like how it can just bring people together like this that might otherwise not have a whole lot in common. It's been one of the best weeks of my life. It's really cool. It's bittersweet because I'm kind of on my way out right now. This very well could have been my last speed run, and but I wouldn't have had it any other way. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
The Jak 3 showcase at ESA went phenomenally, but I was a bit taken back by Bob's sudden retirement speech. I guess those run comments on speedrun.com were a bit of a sign that he was on his way out. It's a shame that he never ended up getting the world record in this modern era. He came close so many times, and you gotta give him props for trying his best. It was difficult to not put the blame on myself. Internally, I felt partially responsible for him wanting to leave the game behind. But I had to assure myself that ultimately this is just the nature of competition, and inevitably, everyone retires at some point. To me, Bob will always be a legend. He's someone who continues to motivate me to push myself and to take it easy when I'm being too uptight. Over the years, Bob has done so much for Jak 3. He was the spark that helped the game get below the 30-minute mark for any percent back in 2015. When Goofy was very young, he supported and mentored him, helping him become the player he is today. And he's a big reason No Oob became a thriving category, with his streams, his willingness to race, and his marathon showcases. His absence from the game would be felt, and it dawned on me that I had to carry his torch, and keep the game alive for as long as I could. He inspired me to be the best version of myself, to practice harder and improve my mental game. While I was already the best at No Oob, it was time to take a plunge into the other categories. I had to take them just as seriously and prove that I was capable of being the best player. Upon coming back from ESA, I would spend the rest of 2022 grinding the other categories. 100%, all missions, and any percent fell until I was only missing the most optimized category in the entire Jak series for a full game sweep: Hero Mode. My grind for this record was absolutely brutal, sometimes playing upwards of 7 to 10 hours a day. It's of course nothing compared to someone like Yonda, but for me, this felt like the most degenerate grind I've ever done. But on January 20th, 2023, I finally got it, and the run was amazing. A 15:58, rounding out a 5 out of 5 world record sweep in my main game. And so there I was, with nothing left to prove. I had everything I could ever want. I could of course improve some of my records, but after that hero mode grind, I was burnt out. Done. Truth is, that burnout still lingers as I'm doing this voiceover. It's hard admitting, but I dread the day when I lose all drive for Jak 3. It was my first love with speedrunning all the way back in 2012, and I'll likely lose a sense of purpose when my motivation for the game withers away. Every dog has its day, and the day I got that sweep, it just felt right to step away. I'm never gonna say I'm retired, but for me to keep speedrunning fresh, I need to experiment with running other games. I needed to give Jak 3 a rest. So with nothing left to conquer, I set my sights on making this video series, and I would take an indefinite leave from the game while researching, writing, and editing these videos. Moving forward, the history of this game would be left in the hands of other players.
I smell a storm coming.
Rewinding the calendar a month back to Christmas of 2022, people in the Jak Speedruns Discord server were talking about the old days of Speedruns Live and how common races used to be. For most of 2017 to 2020, the Jak games, and to a larger extent, most of the speedrunning scene, had abandoned the race format as streaming attempts were becoming more popular. Speedruns Live was barely in use anymore, but two new websites called racetime.gg and therun.gg would seek to revive racing as a whole and attempt to fill the void SRL left behind. After much reminiscing, several runners decided to set up a handful of races on Racetime, with the game and category of choice being Jak 3 No Oob. I found great enjoyment with these races. It was just fun to be in voice calls with the squad, laughing it up and not taking things too seriously.
We glide in one-handed so I can eat my curry.
Yo. Blindfolded glider section. Let's go.
I hope you fucking die.
Jesus, Ricky, it's alright, like, calm down. It's not that bad, like.
Look, man, I'm trying to get these race time points, man.
Jesus.
The intent with these races were purely for fun. It wasn't really about who won or lost. But you obviously can't help but notice the people that are placing well, and someone was trailing right behind me every single race. Who is this guy? Let's check speedrun.com. What's his PB? He's second? He's second place? Hey, what's with the final boss music? And why is it getting louder? Oh no.
I've never seen anyone quite like Aslov. He's so good in every way. He got the Jack 1 sweep, and then he got the Jack 2 any percent world record, Jack 3 any percent world record, Trilogy world record, first in the world.
Aslov's insane, man. It's inspiring and demotivating at the same time to see him just show up and have that drive to just basically take everyone down.
I think in general, there often comes like a new player, fresh blood that kind of hops into the scene and just immediately starts killing it. And the Jack community has its, fair share of those type of players. And I think Aslov is the latest and greatest of that pack.
Aslov can do whatever he wants to in these games. If he had the want to, I think he could literally sweep all the main boards of all 3 games. I really wholeheartedly believe that. If he had the drive to learn everything, he definitely has the skill level to do it. His skill level is through the roof, man. Aslov is just insane.
The dude's had the sweep in the entire series. I don't think anyone needs to talk anymore about that. His achievements kind of speak for themselves. I think he's easily the greatest Jack runner of all time. Unless someone can test that, the dude's building a legacy that kind of leaves that to for no open discussion. No one has the achievement of having all 3 any percent records at one time. Aslov is the only guy to do that, so his skill level is just unmatched, I think, across all 3 games. He's just a freak at all of them.
Aslov is a player we've seen before in this series. I spoke briefly about him being quite prolific at Jack 1, taking the no LTS and 100% records and holding on to them going into 2022, where he would have one hell of a year. This included the previously mentioned Jack 1 sweep and the Trilogy any percent records. In November of 2022, Aslov had just achieved the Jack 3 any percent record, and was now looking for his next undertaking, which was looking to be no oob. He was climbing the leaderboards fast, earning himself a second place spot very quickly, but in the end, hit a wall. He was unable to improve his 39-31 any further and moved on to other categories. My 38 was a strong run to go up against. To take it down, you would likely need to play for months, or a new strategy would have to come to the rescue. And luckily for Aslov, that's exactly what happened. In January of 2023, Jack 3 would once again be broken. Let's pay one final visit to Cave Skip. As I was trying to conclude the story of this series, I was in a voice call with Zyphels and Bin, just casually chatting about the project and whatnot. Bin eventually ended up discovering something very weird over at the cave. She was flying around in debug mode, and upon hitting restart mission, she spawned on the other side of the wall. We initially thought this might have happened because of some checkpoint shenanigans in debug mode, but regardless, we decided to investigate further. We called in veteran Jack 3 glitch hunter Bloppy to take a deeper look at it, and after only 10 to 15 minutes of fiddling around, he figured it out. Let's break this down. At the egg wall, there exists a one-sided checkpoint trigger. This means that you can only activate this checkpoint when Jack is exiting the cave, not when you enter, as it was intended by the developers. But if we closely examine the trigger's hitbox while the egg wall is still there, you can see that a tiny piece of it is sticking out in the top left corner. Bin had hit this completely on accident, and we quickly concluded that this could be hit from the outside of the cave without the use of debug mode if you perform Tom Jack's old climb to get up top. Once up, you would then slide down along the wall in just the right way, and upon restarting, you spawn behind the egg wall. This discovery was immediately applicable for No Oob, as absolutely none of this involved being out of bounds. This means that Kangarat's Satellite and Learn to Drive were cut from the category, and the opening part of the run would look identical to 2015 any percent. This meant having to do the checkpoint death to warp past Cleaver, going on foot through the desert to the cave, and also through the majority of the cave into the inner chamber. The time save was an immediate minute and a half, and potentially more with refined movement. Upon its discovery, the new cave skip in No Oob would of course see some mixed reactions, but there was generally more praise this time around as opposed to when it was discovered for any percent back in the day. After grinding No Oob for so many years, top-level runners were starting to get really tired of the RNG-heavy satellite mission, the absolute biggest reset point in the run besides Flag Proxy. roll jumping to the cave was kinda seen as a fine trade-off. It's more skill-based than whatever this is, and shooting the third rat also felt like a gamble where the house always wins. So many welcomed this change to the route. With 37 being possible now, it was only a matter of time before my record fell. I looked at the leaderboard thinking to myself, who's it gonna be? Who's gonna take my spot? A part of me was hoping that maybe some of the newer players like Quiet Dudek, Zyphals, or Usual would make a mad dash to the top spot. But in reality, I knew it was probably going to be Aslov. Or not. Yeah, this actually makes a lot of sense. Goofy already had a lot of experience with the roll jump to cave route, as it was what he played to achieve his first 80% records back in 2015. So he had a head start on the competition, and wasted no time jumping straight into runs. The biggest innovation he brought to the table was a new ABBA bounce on the left side of the egg wall that allowed you to reach the checkpoint trigger from the ground. This was way easier than the climb on the right side, and saved 15 to 20 seconds. He was still quite rusty, with the rest of the run not being up to Goofy's usual standard, but nonetheless achieved a Jack 3 no-oob speedrun in 38:40. At least, that's what everyone thought his title would say. Instead it says, roll in the dough, need more flour on table, gotta put dough oven instead of salad spinner will fix. He would follow this up in the next 2 days with 2 more improvements to the record. A 38:30 that read, cord on salad spinner broke, tried dough in dishwasher, heard you can cook lasagna in there. And a 38:23 with the title, don't remember what happened in this, left this one in the oven too long, got burnt, sounds about right. While Goofy was entering his unhinged deep-fried era, he wasn't the only runner annihilating his PB with the new cave skip. Aslov got a 39:10, Dudek also with a 39:10, and a new time from Bob? No way. After telling thousands of people live on stage that he was on his way out, he returned. A classic speedrunner move, they just can't quit, can they? But why did he come back? Maybe the time save was just too juicy to pass up, or maybe he just wanted the taste of that no-oob record one last time. But if he wanted it, he was gonna have to fight. There were fierce competitors left and right who wanted it just as much as him. Adding the new cave skip on top of my 38:52 would yield a low 37, and with the record still far from that, a lot of time save was still left on the table. He would have to strike fast and grab it quickly before his opportunity would slip away.
He's done like so much in the category. Like he's been there, went for like a hiatus. He came back at ESA, he raced you again, then said that this is his last like run in that sense, and now he's back at it again. Like he's getting close. He deserves that. He's been pushing for it. He's been riding.
His 39:02 was only 35 seconds off the record, and he would close that gap to 29 seconds with a 38:56 the next day. And there was still so much time left to save. Come on, Bob. This record is yours for the taking.
Yeah, I'm cooking. We're cooking, boys. Fucking, by the almighty power of fucking Jesus Christ. Oh, fuck. Fucked. Oh my god. How do I get up here? I don't think I've ever failed this. I just lost like 15 seconds or some shit. Nope. I just lost the run. I just lost the run to some fucking bullshit.
He just could not close it out. Perhaps the pressure of knowing that if he didn't get it now, someone else would outpace him. But with me being gone from the game and Goofy seemingly sandbagging, his toughest opponent was the new, hungry up-and-comer. And he could taste blood in the waters.
When Aslov really started to grind Jack, it felt like since then, he hasn't stopped. He doesn't give off the impression that he's like the most motivated, but he just doesn't stop playing. The results speak for themselves in that he's not afraid to do anything, really. He's becoming a very complete player, despite being pretty new to the scene, really. Only a couple of years, but he's really nuts.
He just seems to have like a constant ability to motivate himself, and he has a method of like productively grinding for a long time. I think it's inspiring to see him just tear through the Jack games the way he is, and being such a cool guy too, it adds to that.
I feel like Aslov is really a talent that has never been matched in any of the games. And then he comes strutting along to Jack 2 and 3. Then he just gets Jack 2 any percent and gets Jack 3 any percent world record. He just has a trilogy sweep for any percent. It sounds like I'm just making stuff up, but that was all real. That all happened. And he's coming for the throne in no oob. It almost felt like it was his destiny to get it.
Wait. Oh yeah, dude. Oh, dude, the 358? The 358 final boss? Holy shit.
On January 29th, 2023, Aslov would get his own chunk out of the No Oob pie, achieving his first world record at 38:09, 10 seconds away from breaking the next minute barrier. The sloppiest part of the run was easily the desert, which, in fairness, makes sense. Aslov wasn't around in 2015 when this was the standard route in any percent, so this was completely new territory for him. He opted to swing the camera from side to side to despawn the Marauders. This is in contrast to Goofy, who much preferred a backwards approach. Both are viable ways to get through the desert, but Aslov took a few hits here and there. He lost 8 seconds getting the checkpoint to get behind the egg wall, with the Abba Bounce taking him 6 tries. His roll jumping inside the cave was also pretty messy. He bonked in a few areas as he simply lacked practice knowing his way through with a blind camera. The rest of the run was very solid though, proving that he was able to hang with the big boys, if you just gave him a few more days to practice the desert segment.
Jack 1 is like his home game or whatever, you know? But the fact that he was able to like take that skill set and then bring it into 3, and then you could just tell like the wheels were just turning, man, and his rate of improvement for stuff, especially in like the confines of these games, is crazy.
He's an overwhelming player. I mean, as he, starts to go crazy in Jack 3, like, it does not surprise me in the slightest. He's been implementing the new cave skip in No Oob, and this is what he does. He's usually the first person, or one of the first people to hop in on a new strat and kind of make it his own. He's on top of it, for sure.
He's super quick to learn, and he's insanely consistent. I have to play him in the Jack 1 Hundo tournament, and I there's like no hope. If he like puts his mind to it and just grinds it out, he can pretty much do anything. It seems like.
I was really for the route when the Abba Bounce was found, I think by Goofy, just because it was way easier than doing the old movement to get up to the eggs. The Abba Bounce was just way easier and faster. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad, and it always feels good to be saving almost 2 minutes.
And get the hang of it, he would. Aslov was back with another run the next day that started out with a first try Abba Bounce. The cave navigation still needed some work, but it was better than last time, so he was out to an early lead. As the run kept going, the time save would begin to accumulate. -27 by Ashlyn, -40 by Palace Ruins. Going into the final boss, he was 35 seconds ahead. He was about to break the 38-minute barrier in a big way, but the run would end up as a 37:51. Still a new world record, but Aslov wasn't happy.
Mortgage final boss, dude, what is that? The run was actually fucking fire until literally the very end. I just choked literally everything.
Yeah, he had lost almost 17 seconds to the final boss. An unfortunate ending to an otherwise great run. So what happened? The final boss, or Darkmaker, is not something I've gone in depth on in this series so far, and understandably so. It's a pretty long fight at 4 minutes, and it can be confusing to grasp what's going on. It's sad Aslov had such a bitter end to his run, seeing as he's widely considered as the best runner when fighting the final boss, as he had done a lot of labbing and had the fastest community segment with a 3:58. The main spots where you can lose time is the climb at the start, the first wave of Dark Splitter spawns, when hitting Errol as he's showing his weak point, and of course, laser skip. Aslov was struggling with ammo at the beginning of the fight, losing him major time when killing the splitters. And he missed laser skip at the end too. A tragic 4:15 segment. But he was cranking out these PVs nearly every day, so another chance for better was coming his way. 2 days later, Aslov would start out strong, have a poor mid-game, but would clean up his final boss, coming back from a 6-second deficit to score a 37-41. An improvement, but still not quite the run he was looking for. After watching a handful of Aslov's runs, I'm starting to see a lot of similarities to the way I play, especially in his jetboard spacing. This isn't too surprising, as he likely studied my 38 as a reference point for many of the game's missions. He was a guy that had a knack for detailed analysis, studying other people's runs and taking the best parts from all of them.
I think he was very analytical, just like how he was with Jack 1. And I feel like he came to Jack 3 like with an analytical approach. And I think that did help him a lot. There's like the Goofy camp and then there's the Ricky camp. And he was in your camp where he was being analytical but also focusing on consistency as well.
He's like soaked all of the world record strats in so fast and then takes all the new stuff and applies that as well and just becomes one like amalgamation of greatness.
I think the only thing that's going to stop him is running out of steam. And so far that hasn't happened. But I mean, you've got to imagine everyone's human. He's got to run out of steam eventually. But I mean, who knows when that's going to happen? Maybe 3 years, maybe it'll be next month. Hopefully not next month. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I see him setting plenty of world records before he stops.
Aslov seemed determined to get a really strong run in the category. All of his prior runs had different strengths at different segments. All he had to do was string it together. There was a moment where it seemed like he had left everyone in the dust, but Goofy was up to his mysterious antics yet again. A handful of hours after Aslov's 37-41, Goofy submitted a 37-35 to speedrun.com, without posting anything about it in the Discord. There's not much to mention with the run itself, but his credits softlock screen has to be one of the best I've ever seen. Aslov would take the record back 2 days later, snipping 3 seconds off of Goofy's time with a 37-32. It was unclear what kind of run he was aiming for, but we could all tell he was inching closer. He continued to grind the category for days and was starting to hit a small dry streak, but on February 7th he had a run 10 seconds ahead after Cave Skip. After a decent defend Ashland, he extended his lead to 25 seconds. His token movement was as ideal as you could get. Smooth, clean movement with zero momentum mistakes. He would end up taking a 9-second death by getting hit by the blade in the rotator room, but Ecomine and Bomb Train went perfectly to make up for it. One reason Aslov was getting such consistently fast times on the final boss was because he was grabbing these ammo crates at the beginning of Palace Ruins. This was helpful in being more aggressive when clearing the enemies, but it also guaranteed more purple ammo drops throughout the fight. You need 10 ammo in order to fire the Supernova. And if you don't have enough on the final boss, you can't attempt laser skip, and you'll miss out on a potential 7-second time save. At the end of Ruins, Aslov would keep his lead. There weren't that many missions to go, and his best possible time was 37:04. It looked like he was going to smash the record. But that is just not what happened.
All that work just for the most garbage PV ever? It's so bad.
37:31. A new world record by 1 second. A tragic finish to a run that had the potential to stay on top for a long time. It goes to show that Jack 3 at the most optimized level can be a brutal game. Just when you thought you had it in the bag, the last few missions show their true colors.
The game is pretty hard in itself to get the perfect run. There's so much little RNG and a lot of adjustments and improv you have to do throughout the run. The world record's never going to be that optimized. It can always be beaten. Yeah, the 31 was great, and then it's like, get to BTR, and I'm like, okay, I was on 0x, but I guess I could still 1x. And I missed fast cycle. I'm like, well, I could still 2x. And then I had a bad boss, and I was just like so mad. I was like, whatever.
Aslov had enough of Jak 3 after this run, and left the game to focus on Jak 2. His 37-31 is a nice run, but we all knew he was capable of better. At the peak of his play, Aslov could not get a run to reflect his skill, and with him being the frontrunner of the competition, things slowly came to a halt. With him leaving the time where it is, Goofy vanishing into thin air, and me being busy making this series, it left a window of opportunity for someone else to capitalize on the final 20 or so seconds that were left to save. There was only one person who kept playing the category after Aslov had left, and he wanted the record so fucking bad. That person, it was Bob.
Even when you were like doing the 38 grind, Bob wanted it. No oob, you could just tell, was just, I mean, that was his jam. Anytime he came back to Jak 3, that's all he did. He didn't mess with any percent, didn't mess with hero mode or whatever. It wasn't just like the skill, it wasn't just some determination to like push through the speedrunning lulls that everyone goes through. He wanted no oob, and he wanted it bad, and you could just tell.
Bob, for a while, was trying to chase world record. He was near the top for so long, but was never quite number one. And this was his opportunity to get number one.
I'm gonna give it to you straight. Bob is an amazing Jak and Daxter speedrunner, but he is also a busy man. A large reason he wasn't in the conversation as a world record contender after the new cave skip was due to his lack of time to play. The year is no longer 2016, you're well into your 20s, there's just not much time to play video games anymore. But despite living with an occupied schedule basically 24/7, Bob just could not let it go. His inner voice was getting louder, and it was telling him that there was no retiring until he was back to number one. Throughout his entire career, Bob has never left the top 6 in no oob, but he has also not been first place since 2016. In 2021, he got within a minute off. In 2022, he got within 30 seconds off. And in 2023, he was 13 seconds off, but still no record. He likely wanted it more than anything else in his life, but he was conflicted. Was it really realistic to go for the record with such little time to play? If you wanted to hang with the big boys, it just takes raw hours, and Bob just didn't have those hours, and so it dawned on him. Was this a smart decision?
In his mind, he worked 5-6 days a week or whatever, and he had like one day that he could really dump time into it, and he didn't even touch the game outside of that one day. So you're talking one time a week, you're not even touching the game. I mean, you know how much variance there can be day to day if you're feeling hot or cold or whatever.
Yeah, dude, Bob's crazy good, and he keeps talking about how everyone else is better than him, but he'll like get these insane paces, and he only runs like once a week. Like he'll play on a Friday, and he'll be like, I'll play next month.
He's like the weekend warrior of Jak. That makes sense. At least right now he currently is. Like, that's all he's able to really play or give his time for.
The roll jumping route has motivated me to come back and do some runs again. Kind of a last push, I guess.
Bob's path to glory seemed simple, yet strict. Sneak in an hour or two of practice on Friday, and lock in on attempts for Saturday. Rinse and repeat on a weekly basis until Aslov's 37-31 was beaten. The man was playing a patient game. Saturday number 1, February 11th, 2023. Bob's PB was sitting at 38.09. There was a chance he could surpass Aslov with one clean run, but the more likely scenario was him chipping his PB down little by little. Early on into the session, he would make it through EcoMine with a solid lead, way ahead of his own PB and only 5 seconds behind Aslov. In the canals area, he would overshoot the grind rail leading into Palace Ruins, dropping around 9 seconds. He would lose a few more seconds in the next few missions, but survived with a comfortable lead, and scored himself his first 37. Of course, this was only a stepping stone, but all in all, this was a good sign. Saturday number 2, February 18th, 2023. Bob was ready to grind again. He had spent a week thinking about his approach, and also about his worst obstacle. Flag proxy was simply a rock wall for Bob. It would sometimes take him upwards of 30 minutes to get a single run past the trick. Some of his prior PBs didn't even go for it because it was such a massive hurdle. But this time, he capitalized early, a 23 training course to start. He would bleed time throughout the early to mid game, where he got to +8 after Defend Ashland. A record was still possible, but he'd have to play well. Palace Ruins was a good starting point. He had 14 seconds to save there, and he saved 12 of them. BTR went fine, and he golded Darkship. Heading into the final boss, Bob was 15 seconds behind Aslov. But if you remember, his record run missed the Terraformer fast cycle and had a bad Darkmaker. This was doable. Bob could end this right here and now.
Are you fucking kidding me? I'm not even gonna get this one. Wow. God damn it. Yeah. It's a bad run. I'm gonna PB by like 2 seconds probably.
Much like Aslov's run, Bob missed the fast cycle, and just had a horrible final boss too. He got a 3-second PB, but immediately quit out to the title screen as he felt there was nothing to celebrate whatsoever. He was upset. A huge opportunity squandered. He turned off his stream, but would keep doing runs offline in a call with friends. And to his worst nightmare, the worst was yet to come.
He had a gut-wrenching pace die in like a call like 2 weekends ago. He was like on like 37-15 or like 2x pace if I'm remembering it right. Some bomb I think hit him in Terraformer. It was some bullshit.
The bomb came down in front of his vehicle, and the terrible auto-aim on the Sand Shark could not choose whether to go for the bomb or the target. It ended up costing him everything, an unrecoverable scenario. This one stung. Here I want you to put yourself in Bob's mind. You now have an entire week ahead of you to loathe in the fact that you can't clutch when it matters the most. It's gotta suck. Saturday number 3, February 25th, 2023. A 37:45 may have been achieved on this day for Bob, which would have been a 4-second PB. Unfortunately, he never highlighted the run. He likely didn't care about these small, petty improvements when he knew what he wanted was right there in front of him. Despite only being 3 weeks in, this grind was starting to eat away at him. Next week, Bob. Next week. Saturday number 4, March 4th, 2023. At this point, a full month had passed since Bob decided to go for the record. The mental toll was increasing. The chokes, the lingering thoughts, it was tearing him up. The game he once loved was starting to feel like an obligation. You know deep inside you're supposed to enjoy the journey, but Bob was just ready to cross that finish line.
Dude, ever since I lost that well, for me it was like a god run, but ever since that incident, I have not, it's just been different, dude, playing, I don't know. I'm gonna try though, I'm gonna keep going until, probably until this video drops and see how low I can go. That's probably it for me.
I want to have good news for you, I really do, but I just don't. Look at this pace, man. -29 in Temple. This run was bordering on 36 pace, but he threw it away. Whether or not he had more runs like this, nobody knows. He was almost exclusively doing these attempts offline. He likely felt immense pressure from his peers. Viewers eagerly await the day when Bob finally delivers the killing blow, but that day didn't seem to be in sight. He would have to go to bed empty-handed.
After you've been working all week, slaving all week, getting that bread or whatever, and all you want to do is just get to that end goal, and you have one day to do it. And then if you lose, you have to sit on that. Not until the next night. You have to sit on it for a week until you get to try again. And that's brutal. That's hard. There was no worse feeling to me for a speedrunner than like you get some earth-shattering loss when you're right at the cusp of it, and then you can't run it back for another week.
Saturday, number 5, March 11th, 2023. Bob was once again struggling to get Flag Proxy to work, and when he finally got one, it wasn't a good one. He would have to settle for a 29. Throughout the mid-game, he would bounce back and forth on being ahead and behind constantly, but with a Golden Palace Ruins, a good BTR and Dark Ship, he was 10 seconds ahead. He hit Fast Cycle Terraformer and had 10 seconds of time save on Darkmaker. It seemed like it was finally in the bag, but he completely fumbled. His kills on the splitters in Phase 1 were extremely slow, which lost him enough time to be 5 seconds shy of his goal. After all this time, Bob had been thirsty to get another chance at that run he lost a few weeks ago on Terraformer. Considered by most to be the last big obstacle in the run, but he choked on the only other thing you could possibly choke on. 5 seconds was all it took now. It couldn't be that hard. But they would prove to be the hardest yet. Bob was losing his mind. Saturday, number 6, March 18th, 2023. Bob was up early, grinding all day.
Fuck! Oh my god.
My favorite here to take back the no world record is Bob. Bob last had the record in 2016 and has recently been on the grind again, man. He's got his very first 37 recently, and there's something about like a comeback story, man. And Bob is just, he's right there, man. He's going hard, and I love to see it.
I hear this analogy used in sports a lot, where there are guys that like love winning, but it's the guys that hate losing that end up like pushing even further beyond because they just cannot stand to be in that point. And I think that there are times where that happens to Bob. It doesn't happen like constantly. It's not always when he's grinding, but you can get a taste of it sometimes. You know, if you're watching his streams and stuff like that.
Oh my god, what the fuck was that? Oh, I hit like a piece of debris. You just killed my run. Oh, that's where I'm dead. Oh my
Bob's grind is definitely not tough to watch, but you could tell it's a lot for him because almost every week he has a run, but there's just something that goes wrong. And we're just waiting, oh, this is the run, and then it dies, and we're like, ah, and then we have to wait another week. He has to wait another week to play. And he must be thinking throughout that whole next week, shit, I gotta get this.
You know, I've talked with you a little bit about like the grind right now. Like I haven't actually grinded since like fucking 2015. So it's like right now it's pretty it's hard to have fun sometimes.
He knows he's close, and he hates the fact that he can't, like, that he got cut short for whatever reason, you know, whether it's RNG or he choked or whatever. And you can just tell he gets under his skin. And he wants nothing more than to just run it back and, like, beat the mistake into the dust and push to that next level so he can, like, finally get to the goal that he knows is just, like, literally right here. And he just, like, can't seem to grasp it.
one thing that he does have is I think everyone is rooting for him because we all know that he can do it. We all know he will get it. It's just a matter of time.
Bob recently actually reached out to me talking about his motivation, like, 'cause he's been having some problems with motivation. And I think everyone who's gone for a world record and just poured their heart out into it knows this feeling of, man, is it worth it to like keep going? Like you reach a wall. And I think Bob, for the first time, is reaching that wall. And I think how players handle that wall will determine, I think, their greatness. And I'm really, really curious to see where Bob goes from here. And I want to see him. I want to see him push through.
Wait, Bob just got it? Oh my god. Oh my god. 37-16. Oh my god.
What? Yo.
Oh my god.
Record.
Yeah. And that's not just by a little bit. That's like he smashed it.
Whoa. Whoa. Boom. Super dope. So yeah, I'm hyped. But yeah, after 7 years, 6 years, whatever it is, I just want to say, sub your bish.
At last, Bob's hard-fought hours finally paid off. The support from the community was overwhelming. Everyone was so happy for him, because they knew what it took to get there. And Bob himself, well, he could happily put the game on the shelf now, knowing that he went out with a bang. So, that's it then. This is the end. It's been a ride to follow the progression of this game after all these years. I think it bears repeating, I've been there more or less since the start, and I could have never imagined what kind of skips would be found, what runners would emerge, or how low the game would end up going. Any percent started at 1 hour and 36 minutes, and is now down to 21:39 as of March 2023. No Oob started at 54:52 and was lowered all the way down to 37:16. Through the hard work of various people from around the world, we created art. We put our minds together and look where we took the game. We all love Jak 3, but we also realize it's a broken mess. I'm going to be uploading this final part sometime in the spring of 2025, and since Bob's record, a lot has happened to the game. To be a bit transparent, I had a clear ending in mind for this series with Bob's run, and frankly, Jak 3 progresses faster than I can make videos. And while I adore this game with all of my heart, I want to work on new projects too. I'm closing the book for this chapter in Jak 3's speedrun history, but it doesn't mean the story is over. People out there are still running and finding new glitches. And if you want to do your own digging, check out the Jak and Daxter series world record history spreadsheet in the description. It shows the world record progression for every category in every Jak game. With this series of videos, I hope I was able to encapsulate why the Jak and Daxter games are so beloved for speedrunning. But if I wasn't clear enough, here's a few reasons why. First, they provide you with lots of different ways to play. Every game has a multitude of categories that vary in length and require a different skill set. The Jak games also have some of the most enjoyable and fluid movement out of any PS2 game. The games aren't hard to get into either, the skill floor is fairly low, but the skill ceiling is still high. And this is especially true about Jak 3.
Jak 3 is top tier, man. For one, there's, you have your on-foot movement, which is a little, you don't really do that a whole lot. But you also have your car movement, you have your jetboard movement, and Jak 3 is just like a trio of movement in that sense. There's different aspects of movement you have to get good at.
I think what makes Jak 3 my favorite speed game is easily the jetboard. It's so free form, it's so fun to move around with, and it's so rewarding to get good at.
The jetboard, I mean, where do you start, dude? You get to do whatever the hell you want and look really fucking cool doing it. There's just such little niche, intricate parts to the jetboard that aren't really present in a lot of games. It's just a very unique movement tool that no other game has.
It feels clunky initially, but like once you really start to understand the finer mechanics of like how the movement works, you realize it's actually incredibly liberating and you have so much control over the jetboard.
Jak 3 with its tweaks to the jetboard just nailed it. As soon as you get to Eco Mine, that if you nail it, it is the most satisfying mission in the game probably.
I think Jak 3 is as difficult as you make it. You have a lot of choice to opt in and out of things that are difficult. There's a lot of like little 5-second time saves as well that are completely optional. Like you can just not do it if you're not comfortable with it and reduce the difficulty that way.
Aside from jetboarding and actual speedruns, the movement system itself is so cherished that proper skate videos have been created to show creativity and swagger. As of making this video, there are 8 jetboard montages in total, and I highly recommend checking them out. A playlist featuring all of them are in the description. Of course, the game would be nothing without the community. I really don't think I would have stuck with speedrunning the games for as long as I did if the space we shared was awful. Everyone is welcoming and it's quite easy to make friends. When interviewing people for this video, a similar sentiment was shared.
I want to give a big shout out to the Jak community. They were like really welcoming back in the day. It was like a lot of fun to get good at the game and getting records and getting recognized by people, and meeting everybody at those live events was heaven. Like it was so good to give all those nicknames a real face and to interact with them live.
To put it plain and simple, if there weren't a community surrounding this game, I mean, I wouldn't be here. I don't think any of us would, really. I think everyone kind of motivates me to be better in the way that I hope that I motivate others to be better. That's what a community is, man. Like, we just all motivate each other to do great things, and I think it's beautiful.
People, when I first got started, man, were so supportive. Like, you always talked me up and hyped me up so much. I remember I came into your stream one time and said GL, and like the first thing you said, you were like, usual, you were getting so effing good, man. Just like, I melted. I was like, what?
You make lifelong friends with the people you play your favorite game with. It's just not the same without friends. Speedrunning brings people together, and that's why I love speedrunning.
The Jak community means quite a lot. I mean, I think it goes without saying. I've been here for almost 10 years now, like in the infancy of it, and I've seen it grow a lot. You'd often think like some small communities, like very nice, very warm and stuff, and then as it gets big, it gets worse. But with the Jak community, it feels like that hasn't happened, and that's very special to me. Like, it feels like it's getting bigger and better at the same time.
I wouldn't be running the game still if it wasn't like for all the people that I got to meet. I value you all as like really good friends, if not like some of my best friends, even though that I don't necessarily like obviously talk to you in real life or in person and whatnot. I've spent more time talking to you guys like probably throughout high school or just playing like speed games in general.
I know every community says this, but we have one of the best communities. We're all just in it together because we understand that the main point of all this is we're trying to push this game. We're trying to push these games, not just Jak 3. We're trying to put Jack 1, Jack 2, Jack 3, Jack X, Daxter, TLF. We're pushing all these games to how far we can. And that's a community effort. You can't do that alone. So we also are always very accepting of each other. You know, I'm trans, and I have not had a bad experience ever in the community. We all just accept each other. We're all homies who just want to speedrun this 20-year-old franchise.
Yeah, the community, honestly, the whole time I've been around has been nothing but supportive and just fun to be a part of.
It's literally the best community I've ever been in. I straight up don't interact with like any online like internet communities at all. I've always found them to be like either really weirdly like cliquey or just too big. So like the combination of like everyone being nice and the community still being like relatively small has been like the perfect breeding ground for just killing.
I think it's a very accepting and like healthy, kind of kind bunch of people, but it's also, we don't take ourselves all that seriously necessarily. We're still joking around and kind of, you know, poking at each other, but it's all in good heart.
I think the thing that's going to keep me speedrunning is always going to be the Jack community, because it's such a good community and I've made such good friends here. And even if I'm not running, talk about these skips, just brainstorm ideas, cheer on people getting PBs, world records, and all that. And it doesn't really matter that it's Jack, but it does matter that it's the Jack community, because yeah, it's just a great group of people.
If I hated the game, I probably wouldn't be as active as I am. If the community was awful, I also wouldn't be here, you know? It's both. You have to have a good community and a good game to keep people interested. The game gets people here, including me, and then the community is what keeps everyone here, including me.
Goofy's awesome, man. I still consider him a close friend. I make it a point to go up and, you know, if I'm visiting friends up where he is, we hang out all the time, and it's just hanging out with one of the boys, you know? Super chill dude, pretty reserved, pretty laid back, super selfless, I want to say. Just a cool guy, man.
Oh, Bob's great, dude. Just like a great, like, easy to talk to guy, like all around good friend. I'd say one of the closer, if not like closest I am, like just because I've hung out with him. I've got a stronger, I guess, connection to him than the other people I've met.
Goofy is he's a funny guy, man. He's just a Chad. Like, he doesn't really talk a whole lot, but when he does, man, it's just like, you love to hear him speak because he's got something funny or great to say, you know?
Oh, I went straight into the fucking nutsack. Wait, that sounded super weird.
I gotta shout out Zyphels. We started running around the same time. I feel like we're just partners in crime almost with Jack 3. A lot of the things that I found in Jack 3 wouldn't really be possible without him.
Aslav, as of right now, is like the only one I've met like in person, and you talk about a surreal experience, like knowing that these are like real people behind the screens and like people you can form real connections with, even just based on, you know, just a common interest of speedrunning a video game or whatever. I mean, it's just phenomenal.
I missed it! I'm crazy! I'm insane!
This was only a fraction of the good things people had to say about each other in the community. I feel proud to have helped foster such a welcoming place, and if you're at all interested in participating in the community, join our Discord. There's a monthly recap series that goes over everyone's latest improvements, there's tournaments open for all skill levels for a few different Jack games, and most importantly, if you so choose to join now, you might witness the next golden age. You see, for almost all of Jack 3 speedrunning history, the PS2 version has been chosen as the standard console to compete on. But as the years have gone on, the PS2 version has started to show its weaknesses, mainly with something called extended inputs. The game will essentially hold your input hostage when passing through a loading trigger, as the system will lag to load in the next chunk of the level. This is extremely problematic in certain areas of the game, where passing through one of these loading triggers mid-hover can result in a dropped input. This doesn't happen on PS3, PS4, or PS5 as their hardware is stronger, but they have their own flaws instead. This means we effectively never ran on a truly perfect version of the game, at least until now. If you've been around online Jak and Daxter communities recently, you may or may not have heard of something called Open Goal.
So Open Goal is a fan-made PC port. It's a decompilation of the original Jack games. Right now, Jack 1 through 3. What it allows us to do is, one, play the games on PC, but it's not just being able to play the games on PC. It's getting a version of the game with 60 FPS, consistent, better resolution. There are mods popping up every month, every couple of weeks even sometimes. But it feels like a community love letter to Jack and Daxter.
It's like just a really crazy thing to think that a community-made project is the best way to play the game. Oh yeah, there's going to be something that's called open goal, and you're just going to be able to play Jack natively on your computer, and it's going to run fucking sick, and there's going to be modded maps, and you're going to run around in a fucking CSGO map as Jack with his dumb little rat on him. It's like, okay, I'll look forward to that. Like, I never would have, you couldn't have told me that shit. I wouldn't have fucking believed it.
Open goal is the future of Jack. We don't have a version of Jack that is consistent, high quality, no crashing, no lag, no dropped inputs. Open goal will really change that.
As of writing this, Jack 1 and 2 have been fully decompiled for OpenGoal, and you are able to play them on your PC today. Jack 3, however, still needs a bit of time, and is being worked on at this very moment. And while I can't wait to see what's in store when it comes out, I've already been more than impressed with what's out there for Jack 1 and 2, especially in the mod department. The mods that have been created so far are absolutely stunning, and the creators deserve recognition for their hundreds of hours spent creating these amazing maps. We have Jack Up by Barg, an only up mod created with assets from Jack 1. Jack 1 and 2 Orb Hunt mod, also by Barg, has scattered all of the orbs into the game into more difficult and cryptic positions to reach. The Jack 2 Roguelike mod by Kraken is one of my absolute favorites and has a ton of replay value. The modder Cuttlefish has created 4 custom levels, all with unique power cells you have to reach, and the scenery is just beautiful. Dex has created a mod called Team Runs where you can literally play Jack and Daxter multiplayer. You can do multiplayer speedruns with up to 10 people if you wanted to, you can do cell lockout races in separate teams, hide and seek. The possibilities are endless. There's Mort the Chicken in Jack and Daxter, an incredible mod by Zed that really prioritizes the speedrun aspect. There's custom eco power-ups like Ice Eco that allows you to go flying every time you uppercut, Low Gravity Eco, and Chicken Eco that allows you to fly. We hosted a tournament for this mod. That's how fun it was to play. Lastly, I want to talk about The Forgotten Lands, an entirely new Jack game created by Qatar. He's still working on it today, so it's not fully completed. But there are currently 3 levels out for his mod, and these levels are breathtaking. If you've always wanted something more out of the original Jack games, get OpenGoal and try out some of these mods. This is making me all the more excited for when Jack 3 OpenGoal finally releases. I'm sure that when it drops, it will start a new era for the game, with people flocking to play it casually again, speedrun it, or to play many of its potential upcoming custom levels. The future is bright for our beloved franchise. What does it mean to conquer Jack 3? It's a question I thought I knew the answer to when I started this series. Take the game and push it to what you believe to be the human limit. Somewhere along the lines, my perception changed. Looking at all the players who have helped push the game lower, it's very clear that everyone had a different struggle. Whether it's Lapagné having to figure out how to create the very first speedrun route for a vast open world game, or Bob, who had to endure a grueling record grind with only 1 day a week to play. Every single one of these 10 players had to overcome something. Feelings of inadequacy, inferiority, or frustration. But in the end, we all did it. We overcame our struggles, our mental walls, and saw the other side. It takes a lot of courage to push through. At any point, we could have just given up. That's the easy way out. But we didn't, and in the process, we learned a valuable lesson. A lesson I want to share with all of you. Any goal that you have in life that takes a lot of hard work and dedication is worth chasing. I know it's hard to get started, and I know you might be looking at someone who's better at this thing than you, but the reward is worth it. It's like a plant. You have to feed it to see it grow, and once you've seen how much it can blossom, you'll feel a deep sense of satisfaction within yourself. It's a feeling you can't get from instant gratification like scrolling on your phone or downing yourself in fast food. It just isn't the same. When we turn on the console for a session of Jack 3, we go in with the thought that this might be the day. Runs don't happen out of thin air. It takes practice, repetition, and going through the motions to get the time you want. This inevitably means that a lot of suffering and misery comes into play. From practice not paying off to losing runs, it can hurt in the moment. But once you realize and accept that pain is a part of the process, you will become stronger. Once you conquer your fear of failure, nothing can stop you from doing anything in life. You might have to fall on your face many times, but when you finally succeed, after all the blood, sweat, and tears, I tell you, man, that feeling is incredible. It's a state of zen worth chasing. There are many avenues to learn this lesson from, but speedrunning Jak 3 was where I got it from. Another avenue that kind of re-taught me this was making this series. I wouldn't have felt the same sense of accomplishment if I just pumped out mindless sludge that took no time and effort. No, I look forward to finishing something that I've spent 2.5 years of my life on. It's a positive, lingering feeling I'll likely carry with me to the grave. If you followed this series all the way from the beginning at Era 1, thank you so much. Whether you're watching these come out individually or you're watching the several hour-long supercut, I'm grateful that you took the time to watch me, of all people. I never expected people to care about these videos that much, but your love and support has given me the drive to strive for excellence with every release. Ever since I was just a child, I've had a huge passion for video games and digital media, and I feel blessed to be doing this full time. I hope that, regardless of whatever I make next, you guys will have my back. These are the people who conquered Jak 3 in their own unique way. 10 special players who chose to spend thousands of hours perfecting a game they truly loved. Out of all the games, out of all the thousands of video games that exist on this planet, they chose this one. And this was the one story I simply had to tell. Thanks for watching. Lapogne works a day job in Paris and keeps his free time occupied with tool-assisted speedrunning, an area he's been very prolific in for many years. Definitely keep an eye out for what he does next. His tasks are always of insanely high quality. Tom Jack seems to be completing all of his life side quests. Aside from working a regular job, he's a firefighter, sells organic food, and trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. In his free time, he likes playing Magic the Gathering. He has not posted any Jak videos to his channel since December 2018. Beta best describes himself as someone who hyper-focuses on one activity or hobby for a brief while, which explains his quick rise with Jak and sudden disappearance. These days he spends his free time raiding in Final Fantasy XIV, playing Satisfactory, and golf. Raccoon is working as a software engineer and just finished his college degree in computer science. He has expressed interest in getting into new things that are out of his element, like electronic music production or hunting. He doesn't have plans to return to Jak, but is grateful for everybody who has contributed to his speedrunning journey. Yankee last did any kind of speedrunning in January 2017. His current field is working with animals full-time and playing mostly FPS games in his free time, his main games being Apex and Overwatch. He has expressed interest in returning to Jak 3 on OpenGoal. Bob's day-to-day full-time job is working in wastewater as a mechanical technologist. You can usually find him at the beach, the skate park, or the gym. To this day, Bob still speedruns Jak. He streams his attempts very frequently to his Twitch channel and says he'll always be around the community, even if he retires someday. Goofy is no longer the young kid he once was. As a full-grown adult, he has landed himself a job in the HVAC industry. Much like Yankee, Goofy loves his FPS games and is incredibly good at them. He doesn't really play Jak 3 anymore, but who knows if he's going to be gone forever. Perhaps OpenGoal could do the trick. Yonda briefly came back to Jak 3 in 2022, but hasn't posted a run since then. On a day-to-day basis, he studies digital art, and his gaming hours are now dedicated to trying to reach Immortal in Dota 2. Who knows whether or not we'll see another Yonda grind again. Aslov is still speedrunning the Jak games actively today, when he has the free time. Understandably so, his rate of play has slowed down a bit as he's entering the adult world. He just got his bachelor's in aerospace engineering, so the guy's already built himself quite the resume. Going forward, you can definitely expect more from him. And as for me, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I'll still be speedrunning well into my 30s, but maybe Jak 3 will take a bit of a backseat. I currently reside in the beautiful and quiet countryside in Denmark, and life is going great. I have a wonderful girlfriend, a great roommate, I have things I'm passionate about, friends that care about me, and I'm working my dream job. While the story of the 10 people who conquered Jak 3 is over, the people live on, and I suggest you do the same. Go live. Live your life to the fullest.